This next person that you're going to meet, I'm sure there's quite a few people here who do know who she is. Her name is Lorene Harrison. She died in 2005. Now, many of you know her because she was instrumental in bringing performing arts here to our city. And by the way, the outfit that Lorene is wearing, including all of her accessories, are original creations of hers. Lorene Harrison as portrayed by Gigi Lynch.
Good evening. I'm Lorene Harrison, and I'm just thrilled to be here. Oh, well, let's see. The year was 1905. That's when I was born in Sterling, Kansas. I was told I was quite a unique personality from a very young age. By the time I was a teenager, I was singing all the time and playing piano. Oh, I just love music so much. I went on to study at Sterling College, and it was there that my interest in Alaska first began. I was asked to write an essay on an ethnic group, and I chose the Alaskan Eskimo. So I wrote to several area school superintendents up here asking for more information, and lo and behold, I got a letter and a job offer. So in 1928, I moved up here and I began teaching home economics and music at Anchorage High School. I was 23 years old. As you can well imagine, there wasn't much culture here then, so I decided to create some. I had a high school concert choir, and we set about producing the very first Japanese operetta. It was called Miss Cherry Blossom. Well, it was so well received, people just clamored for more and more operas, and that all led to the formation of the Anchorage Opera Guild, and Anchorage was on its way. Well then, along came a very tall, handsome, big game guide named Jack Harrison. For our very first date on summer solstice, he invited me to go flying with World War I flying ace Frank Dorbert. Well, Frank had a two-seater plane, and those two men didn't give one bit of care about airplane regulations, so Frank sat in the front, and I sat in the back on Jack's lap. Oh, it was so thrilling. How could I not fall in love with him? We went on to get married and had two wonderful children, Peggy and Carol Ann. And when the girls were old enough, they started performing with me around town. Oh, those were such wonderful years. I taught music and theater, and I was the music director at the First Presbyterian Church here in Anchorage for 29 years. All of those wonderful concerts eventually led to the formation of the Anchorage Community Choir. Oh, we had so many wonderful concerts. Let's see, then it was, 1936. The Fur Ronde Committee decided they wanted to do a fashion show. And of course, they asked me to organize it, and I could not turn it down, of course. Anyways, oh, you should have seen the furs those women got to wear that night. They were so gorgeous. I got to wear one, too. It was so wonderful. Then in 1941, they asked me to compose some music for a beautiful poem. It eventually became Alaska's flag song, and it was so well received that Cap Lathrop invited it to be performed at the grand opening of his magnificent new 4th Avenue Theater. Oh, what a thrilling night that was. I can still remember it. And then when Alaska became a state, it became our official state song. Well, then the war came along, and all of a sudden, Alaska, Anchorage in particular, was just swarming with soldiers. Well, Jack said, take the girls and go. You must go somewhere safe. And I said, absolutely not. My place is here. Absolutely. We had to do something for these poor boys. There were so many of them coming here. Did you know that Anchorage had the largest USO in the entire United States? It's true. Can you imagine that many soldiers here? Well, we had to do something for them. So we had musical programs. I was baking birthday cakes every day. I had them over to my house for dinner. Those poor boys, most of their parents didn't even know where they were because all they had was an APO address to write to. So when my father became ill in Sterling, Kansas, I took many messages and phone numbers back with me, and I called as many of those parents as I could, and I let them know that their boys were being well taken care of up here. The Anchorage Daily News called me Alaska's traveling USO. Well, the war finally ended. Oh, we were so relieved. But then all of a sudden, military wives came up and decided to join their husbands here, and we were inundated with families, and all of a sudden, Anchorage had its very first housing shortage. Yes, it's true. So, of course, I opened a housing bureau. What else could I do? I would call all of my friends around town and I'd say, you must take these people in. They need temporary housing. And wouldn't you know it, you all did, because that's what we Alaskans do, don't we? We open our homes to people. Well, let me tell you, those military wives, they wanted to be dressed very nice. And Hats were in style, but there was no hat shop in town. So I opened one. It was called the Hat Box. Anyways, for the first month, before grand opening day, I sewed hats night and day. And would you believe it? On the opening day, not a hat was left in the store by 4 p.m. I even sold one for $40. Can you imagine at that time? Oh, it was so thrilling. Oh, such a wonderful time. Anyways, the military wives demanded so many social functions. It was, I had so much to do. Anyways, from then, I had to have more hats. What else could I do? Off to New York City I went, and let me tell you, I love Anchorage, but New York City was so thrilling. Oh my goodness. Over the course of 20 years, I went on so many buying trips there, and every time I went, I made sure to hear the finest performers in the world. Many of them became my friends. Leonard Bernstein, Isaac Stern, Van Cliburn, Marilyn Horne, and I invited them up here. I said, you must come. Anchorage wants to hear you perform. And they came, and wouldn't you know that all of those performances eventually led to the formation of the Anchorage Concert Association. Oh, those were such wonderful years. Then, along came the Miss Alaska pageant, and they asked me to chaperone. Oh, those were such fun times. I love those girls so much. And of course, I love to travel, which just combined all of my loves in one. Fashion, music, travel. It was just fabulous. Well, Lorene's Hat Box eventually became Lorene's Dress Shop. And many of you have told me that you bought your wedding dresses there, or perhaps an elegant dress for a special occasion, and I do thank you for your patronage. I also had the very first women's TV show here. Yes, it was called Lorene's Scrapbook, and I did it for 4 years. I was also very well known for my elegant dinner parties, and they became quite notorious one evening when my guest decided to go to the bathroom. Well, I had rigged the toilet seat with a voice that went off that said, "Hey up there, move over, we're working down here." Oh, I laughed till the tears ran down my legs. Oh, goodness sakes, that was so much fun. Anyways, throughout it all, I remained a champion of the arts. Did you know that they named the lobby of the Performing Arts Center after me? And in 1992, I was named Alaskan of the Year. Oh, that was such a thrilling night for me as well. Oh, I had to bring so much up here in the way of culture to the last frontier. I'm afraid I neglected Jack and the girls a bit, and he and I were divorced. But he's buried right next to me. Oh, do be sure and stop and go see my headstone. My daughter Carol Ann is so proud of the emblem she's placed there. Let's see, there's Pollyanna, because I always believed that things would turn out all right. A hat, of course, music symbols, the Alaska state flag, and a chocolate kiss, because there was always a bowl of them nearby. In my nearly 100 years of life, I provided much for Alaska. Fashion, music, culture, my legacy to all my fellow Alaskans. Oh, do go and enjoy the performing arts. They are so thrilling, aren't they? Thank you so much.